Back to Dirt Hammers Off-Road Media. Today, in this video, I want to talk to you a little bit about the TCX Baja boots and kind of do a little bit of a product review and try to explain some of the terrain that I've ridden these boots on over course about 1,600 miles. I bought these boots specifically for a trip or a ride that I had been planning all year, and completed that ride just a couple weeks ago. So I want to do a product review on these, tell you how well they've been holding up, things that I like about them, and if there's anything that I don't like, things of that nature. So stick around and hope you enjoy the video. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about the trip that I just went on at the beginning of September. I guess we're pushing probably about a month ago now. I live in Cartersville, Georgia, and we did a ride that's called the SEAT, the Southeastern Adventure Trail, and you can find this on the advrider.com. And what it is it's a trail or a dual sport adventure ride that pretty much circles the state of Georgia. We left Cartersville, Georgia, we went over into Alabama, we followed Alabama-Georgia border basically down into Florida to the Gulf of Mexico, went across the panhandle of Florida, back into South Georgia before we got to Jacksonville, South Carolina, Georgia border, North Carolina, then across North Georgia. So the terrain for that trip was one reason I kind of considered these boots. One, I knew it was going to be hot. Two, I knew it was going to be more of a dual sport ride, a true dual sport ride, and not enduro. I mean, we were riding, myself and two other guys were riding KLR 650s. So the terrain was pretty much four service roads, a lot of dirt roads, a lot of sandy roads, especially when we got in Florida, South Alabama, and South Georgia. But and a lot of the roads were just wide open dirt highways. I mean, they were long stretches. So the terrain was pretty mild, and that's kind of what these boots are built for. The TCX Baja is really built for a venture rider. It's not an enduro boot. It's strictly for a guy that does adventure touring, has like an adventure touring bike, something of that nature, and does some occasional dirt road, maybe some forest service roads, and that's about it. And we'll talk about why this is such a good dual sport kind of venture boot and why it's not an enduro boot. You need to understand the difference, because if you purchase these, I want you to be happy with them, and I want to make sure you purchase them for the the type of riding, the type of bike, things of that nature that you're going to be using. So let's take a little closer look and let's talk about how well the boots held up and things that I really liked about them. So let's talk about some things that I noticed right away about the TCX Baja boot. Extremely comfortable. I mean, right out of the box, as soon as you put them on, extremely comfortable. I mean, they required zero break-in. My main purpose, or my number one feature about these boots for choosing them or selecting them for my trip was they were waterproof. These boots retail for $2.99. They are waterproof, but it is a waterproof liner. For for about $60 or so, you can get this same boot in a Gore-Tex, which we all know and understand that the Gore-Tex is the far superior waterproof material. So these are waterproof, and my feet stayed dry. Now, we rode in the rain off and on. We had several deep water crossings and I actually stood in one of the little small creeks that we crossed and did some filming, and my feet stayed dry. Now I don't know what the waterproof rating is for these, meaning, you know, if I stood in that creek for 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes and so on, would my feet get wet? I don't know. They did stay dry the entire trip, riding through thunderstorms and all the deep water crossings, so that was important. As you can see, the boots, they're all leather. It's 100% leather. There is no plastic panels to make them heavy and bulky. The boots are extremely easy to walk around in. Full leather, suede on the upper. Got a nice padded suede panel here in the front. Do have the plastic cup up top to protect the shin. But overall, like I said, they're just extremely comfortable. All the seams have held up great. I don't have any seams coming undone. They are some wear panels on the toes of the boot. You can see on this one here, it's taken a little bit of shifter rash, but that's what the wear panel's for. You see where the engine cases and frames rub the boots, but they got exactly 1,600 and some change on them. Got a nice little debris deflector here to protect the lower buckle. So let's look at the sole of the boot. The sole of this boot has a lot to do with its comfort and the ease of walking around and things of that nature. So we got a multi-directional sole or traction pad, which helps when you're off the bike. Worked great in the sand and the dirt roads. The bottom is holding up perfect. I do have a little bit of wear here. I run a very aggressive foot peg. It's the IMS Pro Series. It's more of a dirt bike, enduro, motocross style peg, and it's really aggressive. So when I'm rocking my foot back and forth on the edge of the peg, shifting, I'm getting a little bit of wear here, but it's basically just taking out the TCX logo for the most part. So that's not a concern for me. But they're holding up great. They're extremely comfortable. And the reason this boot is going to be really good for the adventure touring guy is this boot doesn't have the like steel shank in them like a motocross or an enduro boot. Once again, that helps with the ability of them to be very comfortable and walk around off the bike. They do have enough support in the bottom of this boot for standing up while you're riding. Now, it's not the kind of support that you're going to get from a true motocross or an enduro boot, but it's enough support that you can stand up for a few moments, whether it's because of the terrain or you need to stretch your legs or you just want to stretch your body out. You can stand up, and it's supported good enough to ride for, you know, down the road, down the trail, 5-10 minutes, whatever it is, just short intervals. Much longer than that, you're going to start to get a little fatigue in your foot and things of that nature, and you're going to want to sit back down. But it's not an enduro, it's not a motocross boot, it's just the adventure touring bike. Guys with 1200cc type bikes, 1000cc type bikes that are adventure tour riders. They like to get off, explore things around the town or city where they're at, and some occasional off-road stuff. So that's one reason that this is a good adventure touring boot, is it doesn't have the steel shank. Very flexible, easy to walk around in. So this is my third pair of TCX boots. I got the Baja, I got the X Blast, which is an enduro motocross boot, and I also got the X Desert, which is a model that this boot, I believe, is kind of replaced for the most part. But anyways, the quality is always top notch. The construction is always high end. They're always some good padding. They're very comfortable. The interior of the boots are just padded really well for comfort. This boot here, the Baja, excellent adventure touring boot, as I already said. But the reason, as I mentioned earlier, to make sure that you buy these boots for a specific reason, is I want you to be happy with them. If you are a dual sport guy, and the true meaning of dual sport, basically you ride through town, do a little asphalt riding, you like to explore some dirt roads, Forest Service roads, get off the beaten path a little bit, this is a good boot. But we all know that dual sport riders tend to cross over into enduro. That's, you know, basically with some of the bike options we have today, we have that ability to where we're a dual sport rider, but our bikes are basically designed and for enduro riding. This is not the boot for you, and the reason only being is this boot doesn't have all the plastic panels. It doesn't have the plastic heel cap, doesn't have a plastic cap across the toes, it doesn't have a steel toe cap. Same thing, the interior of the boot on the inside here is not wrapped in a plastic wrap. You don't have the steel shank. So if you're looking for a dual sport / enduro boot, you know, look at something like the TCX X Blast or things of that nature. But if you're looking for a good dual sport boot, even if you ride a KLR 650, a DR 650 and bigger bikes on up, and you just like to have a good walking boot, you know, you ride in dirt roads, some gravel roads, you like to explore the back roads and get off the bike a lot, this is a perfect boot. I absolutely love this boot. It was perfect for my trip, and I'm probably here in the next, I think probably next week or so when I go ride, I'm probably going to put this boot back on and go ride some more. So it works really well. And just make sure you you understand what kind of riding you want to do and you pick the right boot. That's important for your protection of your lower leg and your foot. Okay, one thing that I thought that'd be important to mention, especially when you order anything online or anything like that, you don't have the ability to try it on, right? So with the TCX boots, whether it's this Baja boot, the X Blast, and the X Deserts that I have, all three models, the sizing's been spot on. I wear a size 12 in a tennis shoe, work boot, cowboy boot, whatever it is, I wear a size 12. I ordered these in a size 12, and I felt confident that they would fit perfectly because my other two boots that I have from TCX fit perfectly. So the sizing of these have been very consistent and spot on. Another thing that I like about the sizing of this boot, especially on the the interior of it, is it works well with, I got some thick kind of motocross style socks. Fits perfect, they're comfortable. I also have a little bit thinner sock that I wear, and I wore some thin socks and some thick socks on my trip, and even the thin socks, they fit well. The boot didn't seem to overheat my feet at all. We were, it was easily low to mid 90s on my trip, and my feet didn't seem to overheat. I think these boots, it's starting to get, winter time, not winter time, but fall is approaching here in the southeast, and I think these boots are going to work really well keeping my feet warm this winter. So I'm excited to try that. But I think you can be very confident in your sizing and order these in a size shoe or a work boot or your regular motocross boot that you wear today or dual sport boot. The sizing has always been spot on, and I think that's important. It is a 3-buckle design that you can see. The boots are just a tad shorter, on the height than a conventional motocross or an enduro boot. And that's okay. It just adds to the, they're lightweight. That kind of adds to their walkability and overall comfort. It does have a nice padded garter at the top. This garter worked really well, and keeping some of that Florida sand and stuff out of the boot, so I didn't have to worry about any kind of debris getting down in there. But overall, just a great boot. Sizing's always spot on, and I think you'll enjoy them. Okay guys, so that's some of my thoughts on the TCX Baja boot. Once again, it's $299. It is 100% leather construction and extremely comfortable. High quality, high-end boot. Waterproof. But for about 60 some odd dollars more, you can get this same boot in a TCX Baja Gore-Tex, and I think that would be for guys that are really hardcore, looking to do more traveling and kind of rely on a 100% kind of guaranteed waterproof. The Gore-Tex might be the way to go. These have not let me down so far, but I'm going to leave some links to some other videos down in the description, and these videos will be, there's 2 videos, and this will be my ride that I took on the Southeastern Adventure Trail, and you can kind of get an idea of the type of riding and the type of terrain that I did in these boots. Once again, I think you'll be very pleased with these if you do the right kind of riding. I don't think I've ever found a boot that's more comfortable, flexible, easy to walk around in, and it's going to offer the protection that you need for your lower part of your leg and your ankle and foot if you're using for its intended purpose. And that is, it's an adventure touring boot, light dual sport kind of use, and it's great for that. So if you would, view the other videos and you can kind of get an idea of some of the terrain that this boot was well suited for, and I'm very pleased with it, and can't wait to get back out there on the bike and put some more miles on these. And but check it out. I'm going to leave some description information, some links to where you can buy these, and a link to TCX Boots so you can go on there and explore some of their other boot models and options that they have. They have a variety of lifestyle boots, motocross boots, enduro, street bike boots, adventure and dual sport boots. They'll have something for you, I promise. So thanks for watching.